this latest news that we're getting ready to give you acts almost as like a tush push for RFK 2.0. Because guess what? You don't get the NFL draft coming to the National Mall in 2027 without there being some sort of guarantee that RFK 2.0 is going to go through. Yes, I said it. The 2027 NFL draft set to take place right here in our nation's capital, ladies and gentlemen. Super duper excited about that. They're going to have it on the National Mall.
It's going to be sick. The view is going to be crazy.
Oh, I can only imagine.
It's going to be a lot like the Cap Spray where they had the Capitol Dome in the background, but this time it's going to be the Washington Monument. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited. I think that the NFL has done a good job at using this 2027 draft as a little carrot.
Yes.
So I think that's going to get RFK pushed along quite well. Hopefully it's going to, the NFL's going to be like, see how much money that we're going to bring to your city if you build this new stadium? You're going to make it back in a year, 2 years, maybe?
For sure. And I think the draft, first of all, if you got to watch this year's spectacle out at Lambeau in Green Bay, just absolutely awesome. Packer fans are some of the most loyal fans in all of the NFL. And now that we're a winning team again, I can say that about you all. You all are some of the best fans in the National Football League as well. So I expect the National Mall to be on and popping. This is the thing about DC. The last 2 weekends, right here in Navy Yard over at the Bullpen, shout out our partners and pals at the Bullpen, hosting just big-time banger parties after big-time banger parties. People come out when there's an event. Think about how we treat Wizard games, right? It's the Mo Gala, as I like to call it. Everybody puts their freshest outfits on, and you step out with your significant other, and you show to other people around the DMV what you got. The draft is going to be that on steroids. Are you kidding me? And the fact that it's going to be in April, now hopefully let's think about the DMV. April sometimes could feel like November, depending on which April you're in. Hopefully in 2027, we get warm weather. It's going to be awesome, though, man. I can only imagine it. Think about it selfishly for us as media folks. Know what I'm doing in 2027? I'm covering the damn NFL draft, baby.
Know where I'm going to be.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be super duper exciting. I wonder by that time, will Jaden Daniels have won an MVP or will he have won a Super Bowl? Then that's not like a call topic. What's more likely before the 2027 NFL draft comes right here to the DMV?
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. I'm being a bad radio host. We're not actually going to take calls on that, but it was a good idea to bring up. But that is the big story from the weekend here locally. It was announced. First, I saw Axios on the scene, and then I got John Keim, the most seasoned member of that Commanders beat, confirming those reports last night. The 2027 NFL draft coming to Washington, D.C., going to be at the National Mall. I haven't been to the National Mall before, and I know.
What?
Yeah, I know.
You haven't been to so many places that are like.
I know. It's almost like I'm from Maryland or something.
Yeah. Well, it's required for like the DC experience. And I'm shocked that I
may have gone on a field trip.
I was going to say like field trip or something to a museum.
Once upon a time, I may have gotten it in on a field trip at the National Mall. I had a very good friend, female friend, take some pictures there for her graduation.
Oh, that is very popular spot.
Smashing pictures.
Very popular spot for graduation, prom, all that.
So speaking of prom, it is prom season, by the way.
That it is.
That's interesting, by the way.
Sure.
I have a whole prom story we can get into a little bit later on.
All right. Stay tuned, everybody.
In the show. But no, man, I'm just excited that we get to host a marquee big-time sporting event like this, man. I was thinking about it as I'm driving in, and we'll take your calls on this a little bit later on in the show. Like, somebody out there who's older than me, you can call us at 301-230-0980. You can tweet at Team980. You can tweet at NELL_BTP as well. What's the biggest professional sport event, I guess, is what the question is, that we've had here in D.C.? I think the All-Star game in 2001 probably is that. I don't know whether or not anything else massive has come here. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, very much like a thing. Well, no, that wasn't Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. The Mystics hosting Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese would go up there, I would assume. Yeah, I don't know, man. I know maybe the All-Star game for baseball. We've hosted baseball.
Yeah,
All-Star game.
2018 All-Star game. That was a fun time out at the bullpen.
Yes, it was. We hosted All-Star game for Major League Baseball. I don't know if hockey's ever had, All-Star weekend here in DC.
I don't think they have.
I know the NBA has for sure. That's when the celebrities used to actually come out to All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
Before they started putting on this pity party that they do for ratings and money. Shout out ratings and money. We love them both.
They're great.
But no, it got me thinking, man. All of a sudden, and this is what happens. This is what happens when you get competent ownership pressing the buttons on things, man. This is what happens. You get to reap the benefits of being a major professional sports market. And it felt like for years on the football side, we didn't get to, reap the benefits because of that rat-faced bastard, Dan Snyder. Shout out to our guy Denton Day, who coined the term rat-faced bastard when it comes to our guy, Daniel Snyder. But speaking of ownership, because that's where I initially go with this, we'll take your calls on your reaction to the draft being in D.C. in 2027 a little bit later on in the show. But right now, I think it's a very appropriate time, guys, to sit back, have a minute, and really give credit where credit is due. Our guy Mike H in the chat says, we're back. The NFL needed this marketing team to be you hit it right on the head. You segued me perfectly. Yes, that is what's most important here. We're back. Think about the blue blood franchises, the most recognizable franchises in all of professional sports. Yankees, Celtics, Lakers, Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, then Redskins was in that as well. So it is a really good day to know that finally the National Football League has kind of taken this dark cloud away from this franchise. For years, as a Commander fan, as a Washington football fan, anytime you're engaging in conversation, walk around with an umbrella above you because it's a dirty, rainy parade that people are going to pour on you. And over the past 18 months, and Max, during the next break, we got to officially find the exact date that sale went through so I can say this properly. I've been trying to put it this way. I don't think I've ever watched a professional sports owner have a better 18 to 20 months on the job than we've seen with our guy Josh Harris. Starts off with a banger buying us all brewskis out of the bullpen. That was awesome. So he endeared himself with the fan base immediately. But when you think about the uniform upgrade, you think about
God willing.
Yeah, God willing. Well, I don't know if you saw that leaked helmet.
I did.
With the yellow face mask.
That was a very minor change that I wasn't
I think,
super thrilled about.
Yeah.
Because I want the stripe on the helmet to be back to the way it was, the yellow, white, yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, yellow face mask, that's fine. But that just homage to the old uniform. That uniform is probably one of the best in this town, in probably
in all the pro sports, bro.
In the NFL.
It was a clean, sleek look, man.
Iconic.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I think that's the best way that I could describe it. Because I'll be real, at first, Mike H says he wants the 91 uniforms. Exit the Matrix types in the chat and says this draft revenue of $500 million now costs DC nothing for the infrastructure of RFK 2.0. That's a damn good point. Everybody's thinking here.
See? The carrot.
So our guy Exit the Matrix on in the YouTube chat says it's very smart for Bowser to do that. Does she get the credit for this? Or is this all three of these minds coming together?
She's parading around like she's going to get credit for it.
Well, what did we used to always talk about with Bowser with this? I knew she wanted to get this done. This is a legacy pull for her.
Absolutely.
As well. And I ain't mad at her. I ain't mad at her at all because I think in turn, right, we know the ancillary benefits that come along with a stadium development project, right? See Nats Park. And I think I was sitting in for Chris Russell last week when someone brought it to my attention. I wasn't even hit Mad Max. The learners ought to be a damn shame of themselves for not being willing to spend any cheese. That stadium don't even belong to them.
Yeah.
DC paid for all of that. And we still don't have a little bit of extra dough to kick out. Do better, Learner family. We'll talk about the Nats a little bit later on. They took 2 out of 3 versus Cincinnati this weekend, and they're playing pretty damn good. Couple games over 500 since that brutal opening week of the season. But the big news here this morning, set to be announced at around 1 p.m. Eastern time via an official announcement from Donald Trump at the White House. According to multiple different reports, the NFL is bringing the NFL draft right here to our nation's capital in 2027. It'll take place on the National Mall. Plenty of benefits that come with that. Our guy Exit the Matrix in the YouTube chat talks about the revenue that the draft is going to bring here to our nation's capital. Does that eat into some of the cost of RFK 2.0, some of the public funding that's being asked to be kicked out? Speaking of RFK 2.0 for just a second here, went on about this a lot over the weekend. We're at a point right now where, like I said to start the show, RFK 2.0 is at the goal line, so to speak. I think, this draft news acts as a proverbial tush push, and we all know the success rate of the tush push. Let's just hope there's no Frankie Louvu coming over and hopping the damn line of scrimmage to stop this thing from happening. But I think, like you put it, Max, I love the way that you put it. It's a little carrot being dangled out there by the National Football League saying, hey, look, we're going to give you the draft. We'll get you a little extra money, but make sure through hell or high water that in 2030, that stadium's packed. We're probably going to host the Super Bowl champions. They probably break the rules for us.
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it? But super excited about the NFL draft coming to our nation's capital. We'll talk about that more before we get out of this 10 o'clock hour. Big weekend around our nation's capital as well. Coming up in about 10 minutes or so, our pal John Walton, the play-by-play voice for your Washington Capitals, is going to join us right here on the Kevin Sheehan Show. I didn't even introduce myself. This is the Kevin Sheehan Show.
It is.
we are live and local on the Odyssey app. We're on YouTube as well. Kevin going to be back with you tomorrow. You all know who I am. You can see it on the YouTube chat as well. The youngest in charge, Lynnell, Willingham. I will take you up to 1 p.m. It was a big weekend, though. Like I mentioned, John Walton going to join us coming up at 10:30 to preview round number 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's going to be a chippy one. Caps, Hurricanes, two teams that don't like each other. If we rewind back to, I think it was March 8th, Max, when Connor McMichael hit the deck in brutal fashion.
I don't remember the exact date, but yes.
That was against Carolina.
It was against Carolina.
Then it led to my whole declaration of, hey, the hell with breaking that record up in New York. Come back home, do it against Carolina, a team that smacked you in the mouth a week prior. We all know what happened since, but I expect this to be a very, very physical second-round series. To the credit of the Washington Capitals, and we'll ask John Walton about this in great detail when he joins us at about 10:25. Credit to the Washington Capitals for a group that was not playing their best hockey leading into the postseason. I think this was the type of series, and tell me if you agree, Max, that instills confidence back into your fan base that, hey, look, I know it's not something you want to rely on in professional sports, but the Caps have the old finger button, is what I like to call it. They can flip the switch. They've officially shown that.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this about this team relative to, I guess, 2018 is the low-hanging fruit.
Sure.
Not a whole lot of comparisons you can make, but I think this team's most dangerous weapon, their secret sauce, so to speak, is their ability to score in bunches. It feels like they're never out of a game because they can go rally off 2 and 3 goals in a period. We've seen them go through these lulls as well where they do struggle to score, but the highs are much higher than the lows are low, is how I would describe it. The physicality of this series,
it's going to be
chippy.
It's going to be real chippy, and especially because it needs to be a chippy series for the Caps if they want to come out and win this series, because Carolina, they've shown throughout the regular season that if you can outmuscle them, they got nothing on
They
you.
will. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're bullies. They're bullies. Is how
exactly. So the Caps have got to come out, be super physical, run up the hits, get them, hearing footsteps even when they're not there. So, and I'm hoping that Logan Thompson can keep this playoff run going, because he's been lights out so far.
Yes, he has.
Credit to him, even after that injury where he was coming off the ice, not putting any weight on that leg in game 3. That was super concerning. And then he just came back out and he's been lights out. The Canes, though, on the other side of it, they are Freddie Anderson, their starting goaltender, who looks a little bit like me, is dealing with an injury. So they got Pyotr Kochetkov coming out in relief. And so that might be a little bit something that the Caps can kind of capitalize on. We saw it with Montembeault getting subbed in for Dobesh. Montembeault, by the way, double groin pull.
That's disgusting.
That's
That's tough.
Horrible. I can't imagine walking.
Yeah, seriously,
two pulled groins.
You probably could not walk. That's a freaking injury, if you ask me. You know what? The only thing I like about the Hurricanes is they have one of my favorite names to say in all of professional sports, because I love my guy Sean McDonough, who does the NHL's play-by-play
Very
on
good.
ESPN. Sebastian Aho.
Yeah.
I love me some Sebastian Aho.
You know there are 2 Sebastian Ahos in the NHL?
So am I talking about the other one then that plays for New York?
Does he still play for New York? It was New York and it was Carolina.
Because I remember, quick story, I was auditioning to be an anchor on CBS Sports Radio.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I had to do in my fill-in shift was, or my audition shift was, do updates for a night. And Sebastian Aho's, and it was playoff time, and McDonough had a crazy call, and I was saying, oh, saying, uh-oh. But, yeah, you pick up what I'm putting down. So there are 2 dudes with the exact same name?
With the exact same. It's very fun. One.
That's ridiculous.
The one who plays in Carolina is Finnish. The other one who plays in New York is Swedish.
So I'm talking about the New York Sebastian Aho then.
No, Sebastian Aho. I think we're talking about the one in Carolina, right?
I think. So are there 2 or are there 1? That's what
there
I'm trying
2.
to pick up. Where does the other one play at?
New York
and Carolina.
And Carolina.
We'll figure that out during the break.